And here we go. It's the Friday show, and I'm your host, officer from Toronto Police, talking traffic law that comes our way. We're a show that's all about you. Yes, we are here to answer your questions and ultimately make you safer, cost you less money in fines. Yeah, it's about making your life better. That's what we're here for. We're a health and wellness show in a kind of sort of way, aren't we? What are we doing? It's Friday. It's the last day before we go out and not come back until Monday, which is exciting. It feels like a short week for me. I was at a conference on Wednesday talking about technology and law enforcement. Very, very cool. And they also served lunch, so it was a bonus. But we're back in the office today, so we can wrap it all up. I had some interesting things. Something I want to talk about. Something that really bugged me. I went to a restaurant to pick up takeaway yesterday. And when I got there, there was a BMW on a 45-degree angle covering not one, but two accessible parking spots. No accessible parking permit in the car, no front plate on the car either, and it was lowered, and there were some other issues with it. But what was most interesting is that when I went inside and said, "Hey, does anybody know who owns this car?" I got a real sassy remark from one person who says, "I don't drive." I said, "Okay, so you won't mind if I go outside and arrange to get it towed then, right?" And she says, "I don't drive." So I went outside, took some pictures of the car, and then we're processing all that, as we go. So that's still on the go. They're gonna get a ticket in the mail, at least that's the plan. But they came out to the car eventually after I'd photographed everything, and I'm just shocked at how willing people are to do really disgusting things. People need those spots for a reason. It's not for two gym bros who are, finished they had protein drink cups in the center console, and they went to get their burrito, and then they just don't care. Now, granted, this is also an entirely empty parking lot. So could it mean that someone would have to step a few, feet farther with an accessible permit? Well, yeah, but if they were in a wheelchair, they wouldn't be able to go over the ramp or the curb that divides the other areas. It was just inconsiderate. And I think that's a real problem. And that's why I had to mention it today, because it bugged me. And were they rude? Well, they lied maybe by saying it wasn't their car. Maybe they didn't want to deal with the consequences of possibly maybe getting a ticket. Um, but all they had to do was say, "Gee whiz, sorry, boss, gonna go outside. I'll move the car." Oopsie. But no. So anyway, choose your own adventure. It's the fun. It's the fun. Hey, Juan Gonzalez says is the first person coming in through TikTok, and let's see here. He wants to know about modified cars, but thank you. You've served to prove that the link is actually working. And I just realized that I went into my rant about illegal parking, and I forgot to activate the stream in Instagram. So Instagram's now live with us too. Let's scroll to now that I've gone off the beaten path. Let's get back onto it. Michael says happy or merry FriYAY. Well, that threw me for a loop. Merry versus happy. I'll take it. The first question coming in from Michael, we'll get to that in just 1 second. He's got a question too and a dad joke because two dad jokes, three dad jokes. He's on fire. Okay. We got Northern Pike who says, "Hey, Sean and beautiful world. What's going on, Northern Pike? Good to see you." We've got another question uh, from Michael. Let's see here. Oh. Okay. Yes, I'll come back to that question to answer Michael's question. We got greetings and salutations from the one and only Akela Draconis. We've got Julie Massey who says, "Good morning and happy Friday." Let's see here. We got a comment from Michael. Dad joke here. We got good morrow. Actually, it's a good morrow. I think it's kind of like yeah, good morrow from Chase. What's going on? We've got Richard who says, "Good morning. Friday is always fun." It truly is. It's the best day of the week. I get to spend 2 days uninterrupted with family, and I'm very excited about that. Good morning to my wife who just popped into the live stream on TikTok. Good morning. And let's see here. We got a quote from Michaela. Zombie comes in with a, "Hey, happy Friday." What's going on, Zombie? Welcome back. Let's see here. Michael says, "I should have gotten a jack and taken off the BMW wheels that were in the accessible permit spot. Things like that go through my mind. When frustration hits, I think about, you know, to I think about a lot of things, and similar to that of it's really a nasty thing that people do. But anyway, flag the question from Juan. Big Jeff Fresh says good morning, and of course, here's my wife's message of happy Friday. We've got Brandon who says good morning, Sean, and to the amazing community. I'm having technical issues, so hopefully, it didn't post more than once. No, everything worked out well. Another dad joke. Well, this is like we're killing it with dad jokes today. It's awesome. Okay. What is this? Can you deny a bylaw officer from entering your property? They actually have authority to do things that even police would need more authority for. So where we may need a warrant, they have authority to enter property for certain things. Well, we have authority to enter property as well. If you have questions, I would call a lawyer on that. I don't want to give you advice that may be contrary to your own needs and wants, and make, because I'm telling you from a different perspective. So on that, I would suggest you talk to a lawyer. Oh, Brandon says the TPS has Chargers. How about Mustangs? No Mustangs. Very sorry to tell you that. Austin says hi. Oh, interesting. Chris wants to know about digital pink slips. Are they acceptable in Ontario? They are now acceptable. That is something actually I'm working on a video because I was I was approached by a buddy of mine. Sven came by and said, I can't tell you how many people I stopped that have no idea what a license, ownership, and insurance are, and that they are required to provide it upon demand of a police officer when they're stopped. So they are people. He's stopping a lot of people, and I mean they know what their driver's license is, but they're pulling up photos, going, "Well, here you go." Well, that's not acceptable. So just so you know, it's $110 for failing to surrender your license, $110 for failing to surrender your permit, either a original or a photocopy, and it's $65 for failing to surrender insurance proof. But we will now accept digital for the insurance proof. It's the only document we'll take digitally. Everything else has to be original or copy. Original for license, original or copy for permit, and so on. And it has to be an app on your phone. It has to be a digital, like a proper secured app. It's not just a picture of your pink slip from home. Let's see here. I got a question from Jaden. We'll get to in a second. Pollywood says, love your stuff. You're great. Well, thank you, Polly. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Oh, now here's someone who absolutely disagrees with Polly and says, this is a massive misuse of our tax dollars. Oh my God. Drexler Design, you're wrong. And I'm so glad that you bring it up because whenever somebody whines and complains, I get to give you the whole explanation as to why this is so amazing, so awesome, so fantastic, and why we have 664,000.8 followers on TikTok alone, but we're also on other platforms. We're multi-streaming, so this is on YouTube, this is on Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere. Anyway, back to why you're wrong. This is education, my friend, and education is a huge component of traffic safety education. If you wanted to call us to get answers to your questions, you could, and you'd get someone on the other end of the phone who may or may not know the answer to your question, but they'd certainly try and help you. And that's a one-to-one thing. So every hour that they spend with you, it's one-on-one. Well, we're doing one-to-many, and we're recording it, and we're putting it as a podcast. We are getting to thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people with the content that we create. And we have videos, obviously, that do millions of views and comments and so on. We're doing real work here. This is actually important. And my role as a media relations officer, as a social media officer, and as a traffic safety and law educator, this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And it was something that was never done before. It was always done, we'd go to barbecues and flip burgers and give you a burger. Maybe you like the burger, and that's why you're upset there's no burger here. I'm sorry, we can't do it online. But at the end of the day, we're giving you access to a police officer, no different than if I was at the front door of the police station welcoming you in like a Walmart greeter, or answering the phone when you called. The difference is I get to talk to a lot of people and help a lot of people. But if you don't like it, you can certainly complain. Let the chief know that you don't think it's an appropriate use of your tax dollars, and I'm sure you'll cancel us. Okay, now I got to flag a joke from Michael, and we got window tinting question. We'll get to that in just a few minutes. We got lots of dialogue now with Drexler, and I appreciate for all those who are jumping into my defense. It's always fun to watch. Kayla says September 11th and 12th is the ITS conference. Are you guys in? This is the ITS. This is a conference that's happening in Toronto, dealing with is it? It's the transportation infrastructure conference. We went to the last one. I don't know if we're in for this one, but if we've got an invitation, I'm sure we're going to try and be there. Let's see here. Boo, boo, boo. Let's see here. What happens if G1 driver question? Um, oh, somebody else who wants to say something about wasting tax dollars. I'm sure you guys can see it on the computers in your car, wasting court's time with this tickets. So this person is dealing with whether or not you can have your license, ownership, and insurance, why you have to have it on you, why you have to surrender it, what we can see in our car. Well, AP Abdil apparently thinks they know stuff. We can do the work to research and find out who you are, identify you, but you are legally required as a driver. Condition of you being a driver is that you carry and surrender your license upon demand. Now, that license has not only a photo of you and your name and information, it has embedded security features so that we can tell if it's valid, if it's real. Just because you say you're somebody doesn't mean you are somebody. And very often, we find that people will, lie to the police. I know, shocking, but true. People lie to us all the time. So a license is one way to get past some of it. And if you're lying by way of fake ID, we have additional charges to lay. But that's another story. In terms of the permit, you're required to have it. And yes, we can do some investigation, but what a real waste of tax dollars is when we have to spend police resources that should be available to respond to emergencies, and they're stuck looking up your information to verify that you are who you say you are before we can lay the charges that we need to lay. Now, we would pull you over for one thing, and then you'd be finding yourself with all sorts of other time. So instead of a 10-minute stop, we're at a 30-minute stop now. So that extra 20 minutes is because you're lazy and you don't bring your stuff. But that's, neither here nor there. People don't like getting tickets. I'm assuming you may have been held accountable before and it didn't feel good. And I understand, people get upset when they get held accountable for things they didn't do properly, or, like speeding or whatever law it was that you broke. Snack says, remember, the cops are not your friends. Don't talk to them till a lawyer is around. Snacks, if you're a criminal, we're not your friends. You're absolutely right. We are not friends with criminals. But good people, we're absolutely there to help them. And when we're stopping you for speeding or putting others' lives at risk, we're stopping you because we're friends to everybody else that you're not being very friendly to when you're breaking the law. So it's all perspective, isn't it? Okay. Before I get too deep down the rabbit hole of questions and answers and things like that, I really do need to mention the Vision Zero enforcement team, because they are the most magical of police units within the traffic services space. They are a group that are focused on the big four. They are looking for drivers who speed, drive, aggressively, drive distracted, drive impaired. They're putting lives at risk based on the choices that they're making. And it is a choice. No one breaks the law by oopsie-doo. They break the law because they don't care, because they're entitled, because their time is apparently worth more than everybody else's. They're wrong. And these officers make efforts to change driver behavior one ticket at a time. So if you find yourself being introduced at the side of the road, it's because you done messed up. Simple as that. Now, today, they are focused on Vision Zero efforts in 31 Division and 33 Division. We're talking about neighborhoods like Black Creek, Humbermead, Glenfield, Downsview, Parkwoods, Donalda, Bayview Village, York Mills, neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play. And they want to be safe, and they want their kids to be safe, and they want their businesses to be safe. And that's reasonable. I think it's very reasonable. If you're interested in becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service, we're hiring, and we're hiring for all sorts of different positions. And if you want to know more about those positions, I would suggest you go check out the website, tps.ca /careers. That's what I was going to say. And when you get there, I'm doing this out of order because normally I would wait way longer into the show to pitch joining up. But since it came up naturally, I'll mention it. Now, if you go check out the jobs, there's information on all. But I had another viewer who applied for a job based on my recommendation. So hopefully, good luck, you get the job. There's 6 currently that are listed. Payroll coordinator, I think, is a new one. Temp administrative clerk, parking enforcement officer, auxiliary volunteer is what I started as back in 2000. Best opportunity to volunteer ever. Communications operator and developer in the digital team. If any of these look like jobs you'd like, or think you know somebody that might enjoy becoming a member of an amazing organization like ours, well, then I suggest you share it with them. Let them know, because these jobs don't stay posted forever. They are posted and then they expire, and you are going to lose your opportunity. Let's see here. Oh, Drexler's doubling down on the wasting money comments. He says, you can't count followers. They're bots. And no, Drexler. They're actually real people who we interact with. But, you're so negative. You should do some yoga. It's good for you. Okay. More dad jokes. Oh, I love the dad jokes. This is great. Okay. Leroy says, cops giving advice. Run. So, well, run is definitely not good advice. Bad things happen to people who run. But cops giving advice, we're not giving you legal advice. Please don't misunderstand. We are, or I am, giving you an understanding of what the law says, how police will respond to the law, what requirements you have under the law to us. You can choose to fight whatever you want. That's not my business. You can get legal advice. You can go pay for a lawyer. You can go through I'm suggesting you just don't break the law, because if you need legal advice, either you had, some stuff happen in your life and you made some poor choices, and you're now dealing with them and you need advice, or you're planning to do something. Well, I'm hoping that people who are watching have either had experiences that were not so great based on their choices and want to have better choices in the future, have fewer tickets in their lives. You don't need to have tickets. Tickets are an indication you're doing something wrong. Anyway, Jesse Jordan says, community outreach for the modern age. It makes perfect sense. Thank you very much. I appreciate that comment, because that's exactly what we're doing. We are here talking to you about whatever you want to talk about. I've talked about donuts and chicken wings because I like chicken wings more than donuts. People say, well, that's not healthy. It's true. I don't partake often, but I do appreciate a good chicken wing. Paulie Wood wants to know about legal lane splitting. I did say I flagged a bunch of stuff that people are in different order waiting for. So Paulie will come back to that one. You ignore questions all the time on this. On what? I don't know. Okay. Why do we have a blitz on modern cars? Okay, we're going to come back to that. Oh, the proper name for that conference is the Intelligent Traffic Systems Conference. Cool. Simo Korak says, is there a platform to ask questions not related to traffic? Depends. We certainly do reach outside of that traffic only. Like, we can talk about other things. If I'm not able to answer because I don't know the answer, I'll let you know. But you can certainly ask anything you like. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. What is this? Dude, stop lying. The only reason is they want to give extra tickets if you don't have it. This is in response. I'm flagging questions that I'm going to get back to, circle back, but I love these questions where they accuse me of being and police in general about being all about the tickets. We have no incentive to write more tickets. Like, there's no financial incentive for us. We don't get a day off on a weekend. Like, we don't get any kind of bonus in any way, shape, or form. No free toaster for writing tickets. We write tickets because you done something wrong, you messed up, and we document it, because your responsibility is to do the right thing. And if you're doing the wrong thing, well, we hold you accountable. Now, we have discretion. We can give you warnings. And normally I will ticket for the stuff that's important and warn for the stuff that's less important. But your attitude then changes everything. You see, if you tell me that this is because I just want to give you tickets, I'm going to give you the ticket. If you say, I'm sorry, sir, I done messed up, I'm probably going to give you a warning. Take responsibility. Be a grown-up. There's no seventh and eighth place medals here. You either follow the law or you don't. And then who you are and how you present yourself as a human being to the person who's also a human being on the other side of the window when they pull you over goes a long way. Being a polite and courteous person could result in getting warnings, and being rude will probably result in tickets. Just saying. How can I show, this is still on the same topic, so I'm continuing with it. How can I show my insurance digitally on my phone? Must it be paper? So if you have an app from the company that you are insured with, then you can use that digitally secure app. Otherwise, the paper copy is required. Okay, let me go here. I want to flag this, flag that. And, question about Jeep doors on a Bronco or a Jeep. Can you drive them off? We'll get to that in a second. Emma, what's going on? Happy Friday to you too. We got a question about exits on highway, I believe. Oh, someone here identifies themselves as a barnyard animal. See, look at that. They is that an upside down heart of their nose? And here they are giving them the full face. I love people who try and be offensive through emojis. It's pathetic, but it is funny because it's pathetic. But I get it. You're in a bad place. You're having some personal issues at home, and you need to try and feel special by trying to attack the police officer who's trying to help you. Good on you. All right, let's go back to the pin questions. I'll leave the pig snout emojis till later. We got question 1. This is Michael. Thank you for being patient, Michael. Question 1, is beating a train stunt driving? I know of a specific charge for disobey crossing signals, but is it stunt too? Well, it's definitely careless. It could be criminal dangerous. Now, because you're going to be racing through, yeah. Now, the stunt has very specific triggers like speed. So it's possible that stunt could come into play. And the crossing signals, I think it's about $800 fine, and it's under a different act. Uh, but yeah, I could make the argument that it's criminal dangerous driving, depending on what I see, because you're putting possibly a GO train full of people, all of their lives at risk because someone's got a bonehead idea to outrun a train because they're so special that they have to get there first, or they're just thrill seekers. Either way, totally unacceptable behavior, and I think handcuffs would be a good response. Question 2, because we're doing these in order. If a bus with passengers or a truck with dangerous goods, fuel, chemicals is beating a train. Okay, so this is just continuing on the same thing. I don't think it changes anything. I think I would be able to articulate why I would charge anyone dangerous goods or otherwise. I mean, obviously the bus with passengers, that driver is putting everyone at risk, and they have very specific rules, as you know, because you're a commercial truck driver. They have to stop. They have to open the door. That would be so many tickets. I'd run out of paper if they made it out in one piece from their activity, not from me. Okay. Boo, boo, boo. And Michael wants to know if the VOC account is also linked for Ask a Traffic Cop. Yes, it should. There's both the YouTube page for traffic services and the Ask a Traffic Cop and the voiceover cop. They're identical. They should all work and all key in together. I've never tested it really. Okay. Scrolling down. So this is the Juan Gonzalez question, and they were the first person in TikTok this morning. So apologies and thanks for waiting, even though you repeated it a couple times. I get it. Frustrating. Takes a while to get to you. Why do you guys worry so much about modified cars when all we want to do is enjoy our car? It's okay to enjoy your car. It's okay to modify your car, customize your car within the parameters of what's legal, what's lawful, what's okay, what society is deemed to be acceptable. That's really what laws are, right? If you're not breaking laws, we don't have a problem with you modifying your vehicle. If you're making it unsafe, obviously we're going to take it off the road, seize your plates. You're going to have to go reapply and get safety. But if your vehicle is just different, unique, special to you, representing who you are, there's nothing wrong with that. Just don't break any laws doing it. To say that you just want to enjoy your car, it's like saying, well, there's a lot of things I like that I can't do because it's not lawful. Can't do certain things. I was going to go into a list of things. I think it's not worth it to go into the list of things, but you can't do things that put other people at risk. And I know people don't want to accept that their hobby might involve making something less safe, but it does. Even if you don't see it, other people do. What happens if a G1 driver is driving on the highway along with a full G experienced driver? Well, a G1 driver cannot go on the highway with speeds over 80 kilometers an hour, except a few exceptional roads, with a full G exceptional driver because they're not licensed driving instructors, which is what the condition is on your license. You can only go on to a 400 series highway, for instance, with a certified instructor. What are the consequences? Well, you're going to get a violation, a G1 driving in violation of condition ticket. $110 comes with the suspension. I think 30 days, 90 days, and getting kicked out of the G1 program or graduated program if you violate. But that's where it starts. If the person who's supervising is someone who is responsible for that car, they're in charge of it. It's their car, maybe. Will they let you do it? If you let a G1 driver drive in violation of a condition, you can also be charged. I think it's a good thing. I think we hold everybody accountable is a good thing. I like it. I like it when people get held accountable. Don't break the rules. If I follow the rules, you got to follow the rules too. We all get along better that way. Is lane splitting legal in Ontario? It's not legal anywhere in Canada. The only place that I know that's absolutely legal is in California. It's also acknowledged to be dangerous in California. It's incredibly dangerous here. We may have the worst drivers that I've seen. I've been all over the world, and I got to say, Ontario's got some pretty awful drivers, and it's been getting worse, not better. And I think a lot of that has to do with entitlement. We seem to have an entitlement problem. People just break the law, don't care. And it may be linked to the fact that we don't have enough staff, enough police officers to enforce all the laws. So people have gotten lazy, and that's not the police. I'm saying the drivers are gotten lazy. If you don't get pulled over when you do 20 over, you kind of get the impression that 20 over is okay, even though 20 over is not okay. What I'd love to see happen, and I'm sure we can spark some good conversation about this. I think that every car should have mandatory tracking, and if you do any speeding, your insurance should double. And if you do any more speeding, you cause a collision, they should fail to cover you because you have created that scenario. If you speed, you've made the road less safe. If you result in a collision, you should be held accountable, even proportionally, for what you've created, which could be speed. And I'm sure people would not like that, but I think we have to find creative ways of slowing people down. And I think that's creative. I like being creative. More from Juan. Why do you guys have a blitz going on for modded cars? Illegally modded cars or behavior with modified or unmodified cars that is illegal. So it's a blitz to stop the behavior that's illegal. Should we ignore the behavior that's illegal? No. We want to stop the behavior. And we tell you about it. We make a blitz. Blitzes just mean we're really focusing efforts and communication with the public. So there's no secrets. We're letting you know in big, bold letters, we're going to get you for this. Don't do this. If you choose to do this, you're not paying attention or you don't care. And then you pay the consequences. Back to the consequences thing, right? I like consequences. Let's see here. Jesse says that followed to remind myself the value of being unflappable in the face of stupidity. That might be the best comment of the day. Thank you very much. Let's see here. Jaden says, I've been taking Kingston Road to work every day from Ajax to Scarborough. Can I use 401 with G2? Absolutely. G2 allows you to use any road that is, you basically have a full G with conditions. So you have, whereas a G1 is a learner's permit. I wish they would change the name from G1 license to G1 permit because it's not a license. It's a permit. It does not work unless you're being accompanied, and people misunderstand or misuse. The number of people who are doing it wrong is scary. Lots of G1 unaccompanied driver. Anyway, G2 can drive anywhere, but you do have conditions, 0 blood alcohol content, and of course, conditions between midnight and 5 a.m. where you cannot have more than one person under the age of 20 in the first 6 months and 3 people under the age of 20 in the second 6 months of driving between those hours, except for immediate family. But 401 is absolutely one you can do. I love the dad jokes. Okay, let me scroll down here. Is it legal or illegal to drive with no doors on a Jeep or Bronco? Absolutely legal. Those are designed to be operated that way. You do have to have the windshield up on a Jeep. That's a requirement. You have the windshield up, but the doors can come off. You still got to wear your seatbelt. And for the Jeep, you got to relocate. I shouldn't say you got to. You should relocate the rear view or the side mirrors to the I used to do it with a kit. Came off the door, went onto the hinge. Broncos are designed really well. They actually, I shouldn't say that. I don't know how good the Bronco is, but the door design, the removal of door design is really good because the mirrors are actually on the body, not the door. But yeah, it's legal. I've heard of people getting tickets incorrectly for it being illegal. I don't know what law that would be because it's not illegal. What is this? Nick the Explorer says, the exit from Eglinton east of Don Mills, exit to Ferrand, is one way. People always go wrong way. Interesting. I can't say that I've ever, I don't think I've ever used it. I'm trying to figure out, I mean, are people getting on the highway? What are we doing? I need to look at that because I'm hearing you. I'm just not able to visualize what we're talking about. I don't know. Let me find where we were in the list because things get scrolly quick. By the way, if you're watching on TikTok or any of the other platforms, please like, follow, share. Liking us is just nice to do. Following us ensures that you get to hear more from us whenever we go live, whenever we post new content. That's important. If you're on TikTok in particular and you're hitting likes, that tells the algorithm more people should be here. You share it. It's great. Really helps us out. Tap the screen until your fingers go numb. And it doesn't help us out financially. There's no benefit. Oh, I'm getting a call that I wish I could answer, but I can't. So I'll have to call him back. It's in relation to the BMW that parked in the pass and set by a law officer. I will call him back afterwards. I look forward to this. It's exciting when a plan comes together, isn't it? Anyway, I totally threw me off. What else are we talking about? We'll come back. Oh, this is the whole following, liking, and whatnot. Yeah, it's great. We don't get paid from TikTok or any platform. There's no monetization. We just want to share good messages with good people and get that message out as much as possible. So you can be a good friend to your friends and share the stream. And by the way, something else I didn't do this morning is I was what was I doing? I was doing this. I was hang on a second. I didn't do the part that I normally do, which is say that, hey, we're on all these platforms up here, which is TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and X. I'm trying hard not to call it Twitter. In fact, I saw Elon Musk put up a post that said, when was the last time you called it Twitter? I guess I just did. It's just taking longer to adapt for me. It's always going to be Twitter, possibly. ICQ, who uses that? I used to use ICQ. I even had a MySpace page. After the show is done, I download it. I re-upload it as a podcast that allows people who can't stick around or want to listen while they drive without burning data or breaking any laws. You can always get that by going to Ask a Traffic Cop. In fact, AATC.TrafficCop.ca or YouTube.TrafficCop.ca. See, I'm trying to use all these domain it was a subdomains. Yeah. Trying to use it to our advantage to make life easy. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's done. I'm gonna go back here and see what we got going on here. Get back into some more questions. But yeah, subscribe. In fact, if you do go to the Ask a Traffic Cop podcast, and we also have TPS Traffic Jam, a couple episodes in the can waiting to be published. The reason I mention that is you can leave us a review, and if you haven't already done that, I've never asked anybody to leave us a review, but I was listening to a podcast, and I listen to a lot of podcasts. They often ask to say that it would be helpful if you left a review. Well, I've never really thought about that, asking for a review, but it would be very nice if we had some. Tell us what you think. I'd love to know more of what you think and get feedback. Okay. What else we got here? I got some stuff flagged. That's the dad joke. We got boom, boom, boom. All right. I think I'm up to date, except for dad jokes. Now we're going to start catching up on stuff that has yet to be addressed. All right. Covered that. Dog, mother, coffee lover. I don't know if they're comment. I think this is possibly sarcastic, suggesting that the police are not here to help. Maybe I misread it. But we are absolutely here to help. That's what police do. I know that some people who have bias against police or have had negative experiences or are in places in their lives where it didn't feel like help, but we're 99.99% here to help. Okay, we talked about that. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, Jesse says that CSIS is hiring, but I've only ever seen the posts online, which makes me wary. I've not. I think I saw something on LinkedIn, which I agree. Like it's the Canadian Spy Agency. We're taking applications online. Interesting, but I've met some people. I know some people who work for CSIS, but they were surveillance officers, not information officers. I don't think I've ever had a conversation with an info officer that I'm aware of. They might be tapping my line. Could you please go over lane splitting? We kind of discussed it. It's not a gray area. Well, it's a gray area from the perspective that there is no specific law that says lane splitting, but there are laws for careless driving, stunt driving, dangerous driving, and those are exactly what we're seeing when people are stunt driving. When people are lane splitting. See, I go to stunt driving because that's how I perceive it. I'm a motorcycle guy. I appreciate it sucks to be in traffic on a hot motorcycle, especially if it's air cooled, but you signed up for it. You can't drive between vehicles. And have you paid attention to how drivers drive? I mean, half of them are on their telephone. It's dangerous. It's really dangerous. In LA, where you've got a wide lane and it's socially acceptable and lawful to do it, at least you have some protection. But even there, California Highway Patrol says it's dangerous. It's on their website. It's legal, but it's dangerous. Be careful. The biggest problem is speed differential. Let me explain. When you are driving within traffic and everyone's doing 40, the differential between you and the other vehicles, if everyone's doing 40, is zero. You're doing the same speed. So the worst that's going to happen is they're going to bump into you. Maybe you'll fall. What we see is that people are doing 40 kilometers faster, sometimes even faster than that, sometimes 80 kilometers faster. They're doing 80K through stop traffic. That means whatever you hit, the impact velocity is 80 kilometers an hour. That's when we see major issues. We also see major issues, not lane splitting, but we see when people drive at full speed in the HOV lane that is not occupied by anybody and major main traffic is slow. Well, people say, well, you know what? It's empty. I don't have two people in my car and I made poor decisions in planning. I'm going to jump in there and get to work faster. They do that just as the minivan makes it up to them and there's a earth-shattering kaboom and someone loses a life. So not good stuff. Not good stuff. So no gray area, very specific stuff. What do we got here? I scroll too far. All right. I scrolled past this one. See, I'm trying to find where area we go. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. That's from Jewish Mama. I flagged that. Shabbat Shalom. Yes, I got to go buy challah on the way home. Challah, if you don't know what challah is, it's an egg bread, and it is delicious. It is absolutely my favorite part of Shabbat. I mean, aside from family. I mean, talking about food, I just love a good challah. Okay. What is this? Jaden says, anyone who wants to move to Ontario never move to Oshawa. That's some interesting. I don't know. I've never. We used to service Oshawa when I worked for Brinks years and years and years ago, but I've never lived in Oshawa, so I have no experience. But apparently you do. We talked about this. Is there a quota? This is from Lou. There is no quota. I don't know if there is a service anywhere that has a quota. There is no quota. I've never been given a bonus. I've never been given a free vacation for writing a specific number of tickets. I've never been told to write a specific number of tickets. But I will tell you this. We're expected to do our jobs. Police officers, if not engaged in calls for service, 911 emergencies, whatever we're being dispatched to, are expected to do something, right? If we're traffic officers, it makes logical sense that we're going to go and give people traffic tickets. If you are a community officer inside a division, you're probably going to go to a school and talk to kids. You know, whatever you're doing, you're making a meaningful impact in your community, and that's good. But there's no quota. In fact, if I went out and did a ticket or went out to do enforcement with that explicit purpose, and I pulled someone over, and that turned into an investigation for drugs and guns and whatever, stolen vehicle. If that was my entire one thing I did the entire day, and it would probably take a good deal of time if I kept going down rabbit holes and finding more stuff. And that's okay. I was doing work. The problem is if you go to Tim Hortons and you're picking your nose all day, different story. Okay, Jacked Up to the Magnificent says, I couldn't find the answer. Can I write an M1 test without an initial road test? Great show. Their M1 test doesn't have a road test. So yes, you just go in, write an M1 test. It's 40 questions, 20 signs, 20 rules of the road. Of course, they're like more specific to motorcycling for the M1. That is what the M1 is a motorcycle learner's permit and a unique situation. An M1 does not require supervision. Now, you can't use the highway. You can't ride from a half an hour before sun up to half an hour after sun. So you can ride only from a half an hour before sun up till a half an hour after sundown. No passengers and no alcohol. What else? No highways. But it is the greatest way to get freedom. If you want to be able to ride at 16 plus a day on your own, that is freedom. Now, Jacked Up, you're a little older than 16. Either way, go ahead and get your M1. Motorcycling is the most fun. I wish I still rode. I don't since my collision, but I miss it terribly. Okay. Don't know what Jesse's talking about now. Let's see here. Oh, Pat Vashon wants to know, what can I do if I see a driver with children not secured in car seats and standing in a vehicle? Call police. I think that's an absolute instantaneous call to police. Those children's lives are in danger, in immediate danger. Even a minor collision could result in death. And it's serious. And Pat, thank you so much for mentioning this. I had video that I shared. It was a TikTok that I reshared uh, months ago, if not years ago now, and it was of a child standing in the lap of the father in a diaper. I assume father, could be an uncle, cousin, whatever. But they were holding onto the steering wheel. Driving in traffic was infuriating, and it's on the channel. So if you scroll around and look for it on TikTok, you'll find it. Very, very, very scary that someone thought that was okay. And Jacked Up says exactly the same thing as I did. Call 911 because they have done the same thing. It's the right thing to do. Immediate risk to person's life. Those children need to be defended or protected from that particular individual. I, as a parent, as a father, I became very passionate about child seats. I'm actually a certified car seat technician. I can instruct, I can teach others how to do it and make them certified technicians. It's kind of cool. I'm a master technician. Anyway, I every vehicle I pulled over that had a child seat installed to it had an inspection done. That's what I did. I checked every single car seat. The number of car seats that were not even secured to the seat, to the car, like the child was buckled, great, but there was nothing connecting the seat to the car itself, like no seatbelt going in for mount. There's different ways to mount. Very scary. I've written a lot of tickets for parents who don't know or don't care or don't take the appropriate safety measure. Like anyway, I gotta move on because it really bugs me. What do we got here? Bubbles. What do I do if I'm at a red light with a red light camera and the fire truck with lights and sirens is behind me? Well, first of all, no fire truck or ambulance or police car should be behind you saying get out of your way at a red light. They should know better. They screwed up. They should have gone into oncoming traffic to get past you. Now, if you have the ability of moving over, it's one thing, but you don't have the authority to cross through an intersection. Now, if you're the vehicle in the right lane, the rightmost lane at the corner, and you have the ability to make a right turn on a red, as long as you come to a complete stop, that camera is not going to photograph you. It's only when you don't stop for the red light. So if you stop for the red light and proceed making your right turn, it won't take your photo. But again, fire truck, ambulance, police should not be behind you going, meet me. You should not be hearing, you should not hear that. They should be patient. I've sat beside an ambulance that I was on, where was I? I was in Major Mackenzie near Wonderland. They were right in front of a hospital and they had their lights on. So I pulled up next to them and I said, hey, your lights are on. They said, yeah, we're just waiting. We can't go through because it's a red light. We can't ask anyone to get out of our way. So they were waiting to then turn their lights and sirens on, or their lights were on already, their sirens on to continue to the hospital. And that's exactly what they did. Great question, Bubbles. Appreciate the conversation. If you're watching and you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service. I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff all the time. It's all about educating to make life better for you. We want to prevent tickets from being issued because we want to prevent you from breaking the law. It's just so much easier not to have to deal with the baloney if you can, because it's not fun getting tickets. I get it. Some yo-yo in here says you don't need a license to travel because he got that advice out of a Cracker Jack box. There's some people who believe the if they say something that it's true, um, but they're not right. In fact, they get arrested for this stuff all the time. Not for putting stupidity out on the internet, but for actually acting on it. The number of people who refuse to get out of the car, refuse to comply with the police saying, "I am a sovereign citizen." The window gets broken, they get dragged out of the car, they get arrested. It's really not as fruitful as they think it is. It doesn't work out very well. We talked about we talked about this off the grid Bronco. We talked specifically about somebody asked about Jeep and Bronco doors. It's legal to take them off. Absolutely. Um, okay. Lou asked about quotas again. Johnny Sin says, hey, I have a question. Johnny, I have answers. But your question originally was asked at 10:21. It's now 10:48, which means I'm a little behind schedule. We're going through things take longer to get through. So I'm going to try and get to. I'll address questions that are asked up until 11 o'clock, which means it might take till 11:30 till I get through them, but I will do my best to answer as many as I can. Can you have lights under your car? Yes. If you're not projecting light forward, backwards, or sideways, it's fine. Like you can have a glow under your vehicle. Now, Sergeant Campbell and I disagree. He says if he can see it, means it's being projected to him. Projection has a direction. My opinion is if it's reflected off the ground, it's okay. If it's directly projected, if I can see the bulb, I've got an issue with it. But again, different people, different interpretations. You might find yourself getting a ticket anyway, and then you have to articulate yourself in court. What do we got this question? I realized I forgot to turn in my vehicle safety after I bought my car a year ago. Is it fine? I don't know if they've licensed it, and if you're thought I would go and check it out. Like go talk to the ministry and find out if your status is good. McLovin says, "Hi, dude." Hi, McLovin. Dallas says cap, which translates, as I found out, to lies or untruths. And Dallas, I must only respond with no cap. I'm for real. I have to come up with a better response to that. But people say things. Okay. What is this? If you're traveling on the leftmost lane of a one-way road, which side do you pull over to? Highway Traffic Act says that you pull over to the nearest curb or edge of roadway, so it depends. If you're in the middle and you have the opportunity of either, you pick which one is a clearer shot of safety. And based on where that emergency vehicle is, you make your decision accordingly. Yeah. I missed the question that I was about to answer. Emily says, "Let me send you a CPIC message." Awesome. Do you have a certain amount of tickets per year to meet a quota? Dallas, no, I don't. Can you have? We talked about that just now. Just a reminder, please use the letter Q before your question, so I know it's a question for me and not just dialogue. Does our government raise eyebrows? I don't know what you mean here. Is it illegal to drive with? No, we talked about this a number of times. Okay, can we show a digital copy of insurance? We talked about this earlier, but yes, we can. You can show a proper digital copy through an app that is provided by your insurance provider. It's funny because I'm making a video about this right after the show. You got here Bob who says good. Oh, I tried to press it, but it disappeared. I'm not fast enough. I'm now to the point where the queue is full. So if I don't catch your message at the very top, it disappears. Is it okay to do 20 to 30 kilometers in a 100-kilometer-an-hour zone? If it's because of safety, like icy conditions, potentially, then everyone's doing the same thing, right? It's not lawful to do 20 or 30 in 100-kilometer zones. Otherwise, you got to be doing what is safe for the conditions. Northern Pike says, was there any issue with the past few days with heat waves, elderly having heat strokes or stuff while driving like that? I'm not aware of any incidents. I've not seen it in the news, but I haven't really been focused on the news. I was off yesterday and I was at a conference the day before. But the truth is, if you don't have air conditioning, if you're not hydrated, if your vehicle's off and you're hanging out in your car waiting for something, that's a major problem. Major, major. Can I wash my own car in my own driveway? And that depends on the bylaw in your where you live. There are places that have rules about that. So maybe yes, maybe no. I've skipped some because they disappeared, but I flagged them, so I saved them for later. This user says, road tyrant. No. But I think it's funny. Nobody gets pulled over for doing nothing. Holding you accountable for the dumb stuff being done behind your steering wheel is up to you. You choose your own adventure. Orm's dad says 5 years or prison. I don't know what we're talking about there. BMW. Oh, okay. Here, Zombie says a BMW passed my house this morning, going about 80 to 90 kilometers an hour. I live in a residential area, 50-kilometer-an-hour limit. My security camera caught it. Plate and all. Should I report that? Plate and all. Your camera's solid if it got that, camera or speed of the camera, or speed that plate at that speed. Anyway, the story is that you can report it, but it's likely not going to result in a charge. Reason being is we need to be able to identify the driver in that situation, specifically the driver. I was really hoping to. So yeah, that's the story. So I wish we could. I think automated enforcement definitely put in a complaint that you're having issues in your street. Michael says or asks, what happens when a G1 driver lives in a rural area where all roads outside uh, of town are 90 kilometers an hour? In those areas, those roads are probably on the exemption list that don't apply to the G1 restrictions, and that's there. There is that ability. What happens if a G1 driver drives on their own at night? Same as what happens if a G1 driver drives on their own during the day. They're violating the conditions of their license, and they're going to get a 30-day suspension. Okay, first of all, they're going to get charged for G1 drive unaccompanied. That's going to come with on conviction a 30, 90, or well, first conviction 30 days, second conviction 90 days suspension. That is, and the third time they get kicked out of the program. So that's the first part. Now, the person who lent you the car, if it's not yours, gets charged as well. You also have no insurance when you're an unlicensed driver, and you are an unlicensed driver. If you took the vehicles, if you took the vehicle without consent, you could be charged criminally for take vehicle without consent. You are exactly the problem with our legal system, says user Alphabet Soup. There, educating people about the law is a problem. Oh, I hate to see how you did on. Well, anyway, we won't bash you because you don't have the intellect to understand it. Okay. Yes, people not following the law is what is wrong. Exactly. Can a G1 driver drive in other provinces? Actually, that depends on the province. They can choose to accept it or not. Technically speaking, it is only acceptable for use inside the province of Ontario. And if you were to move with a G1, you'd have to reapply for their local permit. It would not be valid. It's not transferable, which suggests it's not lawful to use anywhere else. And I've heard that some provinces don't care, some provinces do. You're really not. You shouldn't be travel driving as a G1. You're just learning. Focus on learning, but you need to follow all the conditions because you're definitely responsible for that. Someone said body cameras for everyone. I absolutely agree. Body cameras are awesome. Uh, to catch all the people who are making allegations against police that are unfounded. That's more often we need to protect ourselves from the public who are making false allegations. What happened to the 401 truck crash that happened a few days ago? I don't know. I'm not aware of it. Vaping while driving, is it illegal? If you have someone under the age of 16 or it's a work vehicle, then yes. Um, this shit is pre-recorded. I assume you meant to include a T, but you didn't get there. No, it's not pre-recorded. Otherwise, I wouldn't be responding to your question right now. Can I use my dirt bike on the street? If it's got pedals, you can, but if it's a motorcycle, you cannot. What is this? Oh, you got Richard who says, I got to go run home for high school students and their exams. Have a good one, Richard. Thanks for dropping by. Pete Nagra. People have their tinted, sorry, people have their taillights tinted. If it's illegal, why is no one pulling them over? We do pull them over. And it's not specifically illegal. It is illegal uh, to have them not discernible at 150 meters. So that's up to the observations of a police officer to make that determination, or a mechanic if they're certifying the vehicle. So let's see here. Carl Freeman says, good morning. What? Oh, am I allowed to have an electronic warfare suite in my car when cops try and run my speed? No, anything that would interfere would interfere with our ability to measure your speed would be illegal. Now, if we'll put that in the category of someone who has um, a radar detector, a radar jammer, a laser detector, a laser jammer. Those are all prohibited devices because they interfere. Now, we have the ability, if we believe you have that device in your system or a system that works like that, we would have the ability to stop, search, and seize from your vehicle. We have the authority under the HDA. Let's see here. What is this? Okay. I'm flagging stuff so I don't lose stuff. What happens if I'm at a red light camera? As long as you're not running the red light, nothing. But it's got sensors that determine what's going on. Oh, we talked about this. What happens if I'm at a red light camera? We talked about this already. They gotta wait. Oh, thank you, Billy, for using the letter Q. Why can some cop do something but driver can't? Like I saw a cop yesterday driving on the phone when I saw a cop put on the light and cross a red light and close the light. Okay, Billy, I love this question. It's a great opportunity to discuss it. And the first thing is, we're the police and you're not. And I know that sounds terrible, but the police have specific authorities under the Highway Traffic Act that allow us to do things that you don't as a civilian, right? Simple. We carry firearms. That's not under the Highway Traffic Act, but we carry firearms. You're not allowed to. There's different rules for different people because of our jobs. We have authorities. And the first thing is you're saying driving with the phone. So under the Highway Traffic Act, there's an exemption for police, fire, ambulance. Anyone operating a police, fire, and ambulance vehicle is exempt, and we need to. Thus, we are. Now, ham radio operators are exempt. There's certain exemptions for people who are, if you're calling 911 to report an emergency, you are exempt for the purposes of that call. So there are some there are people outside of police that can do it, but police are absolutely always exempt from it. Now we try and avoid it. It's not something, we're not ordering pizza or confirming our lunch reservations. We are doing police work, which is for the protection of the community. We're trying to get information that is relevant and sometimes needed in a really timely way. So the other thing is going through the lights, a signalized intersection, turning on the lights and turning it off again. It is not a good idea for us. We have found it is not as safe nor a good idea to notify the world that we're coming. Sometimes if there's a break and enter, if someone's being assaulted, depending on what the situation is, we don't want to turn the lights on because we don't want to notify them in that home invasion situation that we're coming that could put people at risk. So we go silently. Also, it's slower. People stop right in front of us and don't let us get by because they don't understand that we may or may not be looking for them in particular. They don't pull over necessarily and get out of our way. Sometimes they just hammer down and lock up the brakes and we don't get anywhere, which is putting lives at risk. So we're lawfully required or legally required to turn on our lights and sirens to go through an intersection. But once we're through it, we can turn it off again. It's perfectly legal. But I really appreciate the question because it causes a lot of confusion for people. I need to sip my coffee. Okay. I flagged so many. Oh, so here's a baller who says, they said, haha, I wouldn't stop if you tried pulling me over for lane splitting. Well, aren't you a peach? Yeah, sometimes people run for that. It's stupid. We radio ahead. It's amazing what cameras and identifiers do. We often catch people who run away. We don't get everybody, but we do catch most of them. And it is just silly that people run from the police. Like, if you're going to be a grown up and you think you're grown up enough to break the law, take your licks. Like, running and putting lives at risk, and I mean, it's cowardly, truly. Federal says, "Hey, Sean, nice meeting you on Wednesday. It was great meeting on Wednesday, and Wednesday was a great event, but absolutely, it's so nice to close the circuit and say hello online." Boy, Mom 8424 says, "Good morning, Sean." Let's see here. Good morning to you too. Things are going hot and heavy here so fast. Okay. I love that Vel is back asking questions that they know the answer to, or at least they should know because they've been here enough. This person wants to know why they can't buy a home protection gun. Answer my question, please. I missed your question unless I flagged it. I'll come back to it. This is running like light speed in front of me. I'm trying to catch stuff and flag it so it doesn't disappear because we are an active channel. So lots of people watching, lots of people asking questions. Yeah. Okay. Ninja has a question about rental ads. We'll come back to that in a second. Somebody hit my car. Okay. We'll come back to that. Mitch wants to know about 51 Division. Oh, how low can a vehicle be? No, that's not what I wanted. This one. Okay, so in terms of how low can a vehicle be, the deal is that there's a maximum and a minimum distance from the center of your headlights to the ground. That's one thing. And the second is that if there's any contact between your frame and tire or body and tire, your vehicle is going to be considered unsafe. Okay, we got here. Here. I got a ticket for not stopping at a stop sign, but I did stop. What's the best way to fix this ticket? you were accused of running or stopping in the wrong place, because wording matters. If you stop past the stop line, you are not in the right place and you're eligible for a ticket. If you fail to stop altogether, that's a different situation. I need to know more in terms of how to fix it. I can't help you with that. You can certainly go to court. You can bring your evidence and explain why you didn't do what you're alleged to have done. But the deal is that that's up for the court, right? If you have video evidence on a dash cam that you actually came to a stop, and despite the officer alleging otherwise, that's really compelling defense. If you're just going to say, but I stopped, and they're going to say, but you didn't. And well, here's the deal. You actually have the ability to order the camera footage from the car if it was captured. I love dash cam and body cam, because it provides irrefutable proof, right? It's a third party. It's a witness of what actually happened, because everybody has their own version of what happened. It's reality. You're going to perceive things differently than I will perceive them, from not only a different perspective, but you may not have been paying attention when I was paying attention. So when you started, your own little internal recording, it may have started at a different time. But dash cameras are awesome because they catch everything. I still haven't replaced mine, which kind of bothers me. But anyway, I need to replace mine. I just don't want to spend the money. I need to buy, maybe I just buy a cheapy $30 one to get me through until I get my fancy one replaced. Rocky says, Rocky in the house. What's going on, Rocky? Okay, do you guys bring the dogs out in traffic stops in Toronto? Traffic stops, we don't have dog units traffic services doesn't have a dog unit. The dog unit can do traffic stops, though. So canine can, if they do that. If I had a traffic stop that I believed had a gun or drugs or something, and I could articulate why I needed to call a dog, I've never done it, but I guess I could. Question, but actually, there's a bunch of questions about tint that I've neglected to go back to, because I have 47 questions pinned. But I'm just scrolling through. Oh, those steel case chairs behind you are expensive. Good use of taxpayer funds. The steel case, I don't know what they are. Maybe they're steel case, maybe they're not. But they are definitely good chairs. Is there a SWAT team? We don't call it SWAT team. We call it SWAT stands for Special Weapons and Tactics. It is called the ETF here, the Emergency Tactical Unit. Force. What am I talking about? ETF. I'm drawing a blank here. I can't believe it. How am I? My brain just went on vacation. Hang on a second. Emergency task force. I don't know what I said. Don't know what I thought. Apparently, I need a nap. Okay. Special weapons. And then we have ERT, Emergency Response Team in York Region. You have the what is the one for True Team for OPP? Anyway, everyone's got their own name for it. We have a thing. It's a great thing. I was just there visiting. Nice guys. MK Mom Kitchen says, hello, officer. Hello to you. Okay. All right. I'm going to go to pin stuff, because I see here. Okay. Well, now flagging till 11 o'clock and then going back to what's in the queue. How far do your radars reach when tracking speeds? They go quite a long way away. Everyone wants to know exactly how much. It doesn't matter. They'll testify to it in court. Don't speed. You won't have to worry about it. Can I drive a short distance alone with a G1? No. Mayera has a question. Hopefully we'll get to it. Hopefully you asked it before you, rather than announcing it. My license was suspended from a ticket I got from an officer that wasn't qualified. What can I do? If you got a suspension and you said qualified, I don't know under what context you're making that reference. If you got a suspension, you are suspended. If you want to appeal it, you would have to appeal it with the ministry and make your case. Until that time, you are suspended. Account with lots of emojis and thinks they know something. They said, yes, they have a quota for tickets. He doesn't, because he is just a video guy, not a cop. Hello, account emoji. I am a cop. I was a motor squad officer and frontline investigator for many, many years, and only became a video cop after becoming injured in a motorcycle collision on duty as a motor squad officer. So yeah, I'm pretty familiar with the whole concept of quotas and the fact that they don't exist. But people with emojis make allegations all the time. Doesn't make them right. All right. Oh, this is good. Is OPP conducting mandatory breathalyzer tests during traffic stops? OPP and the GTA uh, are making mandatory demands for roadside screening devices under MASS, mandatory alcohol screening, which means every traffic stop will result in a breath sample for a roadside screening device test being taken. And that is simply to ensure that the driver is not impaired or does not have alcohol in their system, over the limit anyway. Has the speed limit increased to 110 past? Only in certain areas, not on all roads, not on all 400 runs. Is panhandling illegal? It is illegal in certain areas in relation to intersections. There's the Safe Streets Act in Ontario. Are you on the clock right now? Yes, I am. At what point can you search a person or car if you pulled them over for speeding? Can you refuse? For speeding? If I'm pulling you over for speeding and there's no other allegation of laws being broken, if I'm not, there's no drugs or alcohol or um, then there's no grounds for a search. Now, uh, if I had, what am I thinking about here? If I thought you had a radar detector, I have authority to search your vehicle for that purpose. If you were being, if your vehicle was being towed because I'm impounding it for stunt driving, that's a speeding related charge, then I would do an inventory search to check to make sure that you don't have valuables or document the valuables in your vehicle so that we protect you. So that's another one. And what else? And I can always ask you, hey, can I search your car? And you would be able to, only in that circumstance, say no. Someone hit I missed that one. It says somebody hit my car and then ran, something about 48 hours, but I couldn't read the whole thing. What is Mitch saying? Oh, account something, Mitch. I love the dialogue sometimes amongst the viewers. What is this? What's the point? Where to go? That's not what I want. Where is the one that said, what's the point of how much taxpayer money per hour you two sit here on TikTok? Do you think it's not worthy? Do you think that people aren't deserving of answers to their questions? I'm not sitting here on TikTok. I'm actually on a multitude of platforms, but this is one of them for sure. Well, you can go look me up and find out how much you think the value is. What is this? We talked about that. So Josh says there isn't a quota, but it's heavily unwritten pressure to give tickets out. How else they make money? Well, here's the funny thing. We don't make money on tickets. Put that in your pipe. The deal is that money, if is paid, does go to the province, which does trickle down to all areas of government. But there's no incentive. There's no direct payoff for doing it. We don't make money. And the fact is, it costs way more money to enforce laws than any money could be raised from tickets. Like, just the fact is, people go to court and waste tons of money fighting it, even though they know they're guilty. They just don't want to be held accountable. All right. Scrolling back. Okay. Trying to find here. I got to go back to the pinned ones. Okay. Pinned questions finally. We talked about that already. We talked about 401 with a G2 license earlier, but the answer is you can. And what are the legal limits for tinting? Thanks so much for your patience, Krish. So legal limits, there's two stages. One, for certification, 30% light blockage is the maximum. If it's 30, more than 30%, you cannot be certified. If you got certified by oopsie-doo, then we would, take your plates or if you put it on after you got certified, we take your plates, you have to get recertified. And that applies to the windows left and right of the driver and the windshield. Windshield can have nothing on the windshield, unless, of course, your vehicle was manufactured before 2017. Then you can have the 3-inch tin strip across the top of the window. But if it's 2017 or newer, nothing on the windshield at all whatsoever. And 30% is the maximum for the windows directly left and right of the driver. The rear window, the rear passenger windows, no big deal. You can do what you want with those. But even if you're 30%. If it's at nighttime, atmospheric conditions, it's nighttime, I can't see you as a driver, can't identify you, you can be charged for obscuring the interior of your motor vehicle with a color or reflective coating, which also means no reflective tint, like chameleon, not permitted. And people always want to know about windshield tint, and if it's chameleon, if it's only mildly reflective, you can't have any windshield tint at all. Okay. Oh, Chase wants to know what the charge is if you're driving a commercial motor vehicle or a pickup truck and your cargo is high enough that you hit an overpass and damage it. I don't know. I don't know because I've never laid the charge. I've never looked into the charge. Um, but let's have a quick look. That's the wrong app. I got to say, Chase challenges me. I wonder if I can do a search for bridge and see if I can get damage one. Let's see. I'm not even sure. I mean, I'm grasping at straws. I thought I might be able to circumvent, but um, I mean, obviously, if you are driving into something, you're going to be responsible for it. But I don't know the specific charge. But I want to know. We'll talk about it again later. What happens if a driver drives and they're on at night? We talked about this, but if it's between midnight and 5 a.m., they have no license. It disappears. It's against the condition. It ceases to be. But they never have a license to drive by themselves. So alone at day or night, we talked about this. I'm pretty sure I even picked this one to talk about earlier. Majority of cars being pulled over usually do not meet legal criteria. Squeaky clean air. What do you mean? Do you mean that the vehicles are not legal for the road, or are you suggesting that the reason they're being pulled over is not lawful? Because just a reminder, we can pull anybody over, any motor vehicle on the road, any vehicle on the road, to ensure that the driver is licensed, to make sure it is insured, the vehicle that is, to make sure that the driver is sober, to make sure that the vehicle is safe for the road. Those are standard things. We can pull anybody over for that. Um, it's always important to know that the whole legal criteria. I'd like to know what you were talking about though. My hubby and youngest son are both classic muscle car guys. Build and enjoy them. Why restrict that? We don't, and we do restrict the lawful. Like you have to build one that meets the safety requirements and sound requirements. What's that? What I don't know what your allegation is. We're not restricting them unless they're breaking the law. So let's say you want to build a car and you want to build it with a jet turbine and you want to drive it down the road. You're very creative and that's great technology. It's just not legal for the road. That's why we restrict it. We restrict things because you are actively needing to abide by laws. And I totally love hobbies and cool cars are cool, but they don't meet the requirements for safety. They're not safe. They can't be on the road. Uh, Question: what can you do when you see aggressive drivers weaving in and out of traffic? It depends on the threshold. I mean, if you think they're putting lives at risk immediately, like they're just reckless driving, call police, report them. You can also make a report after the fact, but charges may or may not be, laid as a result of putting a report in saying ABC 123 was seen doing something they shouldn't have been doing. Is 15% tint legal on a car? Do you mean like 15% light getting through or 15% light blockage? Obviously, one is legal and one is not, based on what I just spoke about like 2 minutes ago. Okay. Do you do Vision Zero? Like as a city, yes. As me personally, in talking about it, the educational component of Vision Zero. For those who are wondering what Vision Zero is, oh, did you do? Did you do? Do you mean like as a team member, or did I mention it at the beginning of the show? Anyway, rabbit hole. I don't know. How many CVSA inspectors does TPS have? Scott wants to know. I don't know what our strength is right now. I think it used to be 4. Maybe we have 6 now. I'm not sure. They don't go. They are not out 24/7. At least not all of them. But they are a very heavily utilized team. Question from Canadian Ape: if you pull out to pass on a dotted line, is it legal to pass more than one vehicle? That's a. I've had this conversation before. Can I remember the answer? No, I can't remember. It is the fact that I've had the dialogue before means it probably has a surprising answer. But I think I've got you in my my DM list. But I'm making a note to reach out to you. Stand by. Yeah, for anyone who thought I know everything, I don't. I know lots of stuff. But sometimes I got to look things up and have dialogue amongst other learned officers. Can you pass multiple vehicles? One shot. I want to say it's not a good idea. I want to say that it sounds unsafe just on its face. But whether it's specifically legal or illegal, I don't know. Neolux says the insurance tracking comment sounds fair. Ticketing should be based on a person's income. Yes, no. I love the idea. We talked about this Tuesday. Um, I can't remember which country it is, but there's at least one country that charged an executive for speeding, an executive from a major corporation that was very wealthy or had a high income. It's like $100,000 for a speeding ticket. Why? Because it was a percentage of his value of his salary, as opposed to a fixed ticket. Because the allegation or the common trend is that, or a statement, I should say, from people who are unhappy with rich people or those who can afford to pay the fines and don't care, they can do what they want, right? We see it all the time in downtown. People will park their car right in front of a nightclub with their Rolls Royce out there, and they don't care if it's $50. It's the same to park down the street, and they just don't care. And that is infuriating, right? It suggests that somebody with money can get away with things. And by making it a percentage of your income, that takes that away. But the truth is, nobody should break the law. But I totally get why it's infuriating when some people do it with impunity. They don't care. It's no big deal. Well, then we should get into stuff where, okay, not only are we going to ticket you, we're going to tow your car. I bet you somebody with a Rolls Royce wouldn't like their car being towed from in front of the nightclub. If you're going to tow, changes the dynamic. The car could be damaged. It's no longer convenient. I think that would change it without even changing the fine. How do you deal with street takeovers? Pretty simply, we call in everybody. And it does. It is very serious when people start doing stunt driving and racing in intersections and putting people's lives at risk. It's criminal, or it can be, at least in certain behaviors. Billy Wang says, I was wondering, why can some cops do things that driver can't? Oh, we talked about this one already. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I already covered this one. What's this one? Dialogue amongst y'all. How long do I have to report a collision in a parking lot? Generally speaking, you should report things as soon as possible. So parking lot collisions, depending on the situation, like sometimes if it's under $2,000, if it's under $2,000 amongst all persons involved, all vehicles involved, you don't have to report it at all. You can exchange information, but generally speaking, it's better to report things. 24 hours is always the suggested amount, but you could do it 48 or 72 hours depending. Sooner the better, though, because your evidence can disappear. Sometimes you get video available, and it's only available while the buffer is active. Once the buffer is full, it writes over the old information. You won't be able to get any data. So it all depends. 24 to 48 is a good, safe one. What are the rules for G2 after midnight? We talked about them earlier. It is simple in that there are restrictions to how many people under the age of 20 you can have in your motor vehicle. All right, this was the question I flagged. Well, all these I flagged. Hi, I have one question. Somebody hit my car and run on the driveway. We have a suspect. I don't see a question there. Yeah, if you, because obviously I'm not taking any new questions after 11 o'clock, so you may not be flagged. The rest of your question or the actual question may not be here. So you could always go to TrafficCop.ca and write to me there. Talked about this already. So this is a question I saw earlier. Why can't you buy a gun for home protection, self-defense? Because this is Canada. I don't know if there's another answer for that. The laws don't allow it. I can't speak to why, because I don't have any good stuff to support that. Whether I agree or disagree with the law, that is the law. Okay, are rental ads illegal that limit race and gender of prospective tenants? Where to report it? Ninja 9710. It is illegal. Actually, I used to be a realtor, and you can go to the tenant. It's the rental tribunal. The tenant. I have to remember what this is. Hang on. Sorry, I don't remember what it's called. Tenant. So landlord and tenant board, I believe, is where you go. Tribunals, Ontario.ca. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where you're going to take it. But you can call the Toronto Real Estate Board if you're in Toronto. Ask for advice. They might be able to help you out there. OREA, Ontario Real Estate Association. They be at very least they should be able to point you in the right direction. But I believe it's going to be the tribunal. Okay. I've had my license suspended due to low blood sugars. Do I have to wait the entire 3 months? If your license is suspended, it is suspended. Period. You have to wait until you reapply for your license. You have no license. If you drive without a license, you'll be charged for driving while suspended, and it's serious. Can't imagine you have insurance when you're suspended either. No insurance when you're suspended. What is the average wait time after submitting an application to a PD? I've heard of people being called in 2 weeks later. Sometimes it's 6 months. The average is, I would say, 6 months as a process. But everyone's really eager to hire right now. We have a shortage of police officers. I anticipate it would be, I would guesstimate that it's quick. If I ask a cop to inspect my car seat for me, will they? Just bought a new complicated one. Not every police officer has the authority, not the authority, the training. Like they may not be certified child passenger seat technicians. I am, but we're not currently running any clinics. We used to do it all the time. There is a place that you can go, or you can contact CPSAC, CPSAC. They can put you in touch with someone who can do it. They can put you in touch with an installer, technician, person who can help you. And that's what I would do. Okay. Can we put chameleon tints on the side windows and back windows with 70% light coming through? Side windows, rear passenger, rear window, sure. Cannot put reflective coating on a window left and right of the driver. Can't be on the windshield, nothing. Okay. If you approach a red light camera too fast, will you be photographed? That's how it works. If you have an M1 and a G-Class license, does the M1 restrictions apply when you're driving a vehicle? Well, they're both vehicles. The M1 restrictions apply to the M1 or the M vehicles. So if you're on a motorcycle, you are covered by that restriction. If you're in a G, you're driving a car, you're not. You follow the G-Class and the G-Class vehicle, the M and the M-Class vehicle. Okay. Do cops tap the car before they go up to stop? Go up to it on a stop. Some do, some don't. It really depends on the officer. That's very American in terms of the training of what they do. By tapping it, it creates a continuity, right? I touch the car, my fingerprints are on it. I can then say that car that ran from me is in fact the vehicle I stopped later. See, look here, I touched it, and those are my fingerprints. Creates continuity. So yeah. Brad says, "Love the show, Sean. Keep the helpful info coming." My pleasure, Brad. Thanks for the shout out. Okay, Static 37 says, "Got a suspension ticket and a refund for it from SPS. I wish they knew how to do their job." Is that Saskatchewan Police? I don't know what SPS is. But if you were wrongfully ticketed, then I get it. You should probably document that, possibly make a complaint if it was really done improperly and they cost you money. Yeah, check it out. Talk to a lawyer. Let's see here. Takeout Crave says, "I thought no matter what, I have to be insured." What are we talking about? Looking for your original message. Do I need to have insurance if I'm a G2 driver with no car? No. If you don't have a car, you don't have insurance because cars are insured, not drivers. So if you don't have a car, there's nothing to insure. You cannot get insurance on you. It's called, well, you can. It's life insurance, but it doesn't cover you for driving. Anyway, um, yeah, and Mitch said exactly that. You don't have a car to insure, so no. If you are driving somebody else's car, like mom and dad's, for instance, or friend's car, and you're a regular user of that car, you should be added to the policy. If you live with mom and dad, you may have to be added to the policy in order to be covered because there's usually a condition of the insurance that says anyone who lives in the house needs to be on the insurance if they're going to use it. And that's actually a really good way to build your insurance history. Frederick says, my in to go in Toronto in 28 June. Oh, you're coming to town. Cool. Drew wants to know if you need a front plate on your vehicle in Ontario. Yes, you do. If you are an Ontario registered vehicle or you have an Ontario registered vehicle, we issue 2 plates. You must have 2 plates. I already said I wasn't going to answer questions after 11 o'clock, and here I am answering questions that are flagged at 11:25. Not paying attention to my own rules. Okay. Um, Scrolling back just to see if there's anything crazy, wild, amazing. What is this? My bumper was taken off, cost $6,000. He backed into me. Linda, that's terrible. Um, that's definitely one that's reportable, has to be reported. Let insurance pay for that. I wouldn't be paying out of pocket. That's what insurance is for. What is Snoopy saying here? Okay. Where do we ask questions? You just did. And this is where you ask it. Sadly, it's 11:30. I got to go. But I'll be back on Monday. So we'll do this again. And we should be here I don't have any conferences next week. I don't have any plans to be off. So you got to jump in when we're here. Now, of course, if you're following us at Traffic Cop, you go to TrafficCop.ca. You can go to all of our social media, follow us, and then you get notified when we go live. If you go to Voiceover Cop or Traffic Services on Twitter, I announced the night before that we're going live the following day, so you'll always know. You'll never miss anything. And what else? Soccer says, I have a preliminary interview. Any tips? Be you, be honest, and be confident. That's it. You're going to an interview for policing. Uh, there's a reason you want to be a cop. Know those reasons, and just be you. Yeah, don't try and be anyone you're not. People try and push themselves into a box of what they think we want to see. We want to know who you are. That's about it. But feel free to reach out to me offline if you want to ask anything else. What is this? Okay, so Linda said it was that collision was in a parking lot. Did you get the other person? Can you identify the other person? Yeah, definitely make that report. $6,000 damage. My goodness. Okay, scrolling. Traffic light fails to change. Walk to stop changes multiple times if the light stays red. Proceed. Technically, no, you can't just go through a red light. Make a right turn, make a U-turn. That would be the way to go. Any way to fight a red light camera ticket? By challenging it, but they have photographic evidence. You're gonna have to. It's happened, but you may want to find out what the story is. Maybe get some legal advice. I can't give you legal advice on it. Going 10 over is a ticket for $40. How commonly do you pull someone over for going 10 over, even if rolling? If rolling, I would stop people for 10 over all the time. 15 over, I'd lay a charge. That is accurate. Like it really depends. Like 10 over on a highway, maybe not. 10 over in a 30, I'd charge them all day long. So it depends. Okay. I think I've scrolled through everything. I'm sure I've missed a whole bunch. My apologies if we did not. What is this? Oh, here's a good question. Why does TPS use this app when other agencies say it's a security risk? Oddly enough, we're not using the app. This is actually through an RTMP stream. We're broadcasting using a software package called Restream, so we're not directly connecting to TikTok. Yeah, we don't have any security issues when it comes to the app because we're not using the app. They're actually the app is prohibited from our phones. We have work issued phones, and those phones cannot run TikTok. Just to to cover it off. There's no actual risk to security that I can see that has been identified from the app itself, but as an abundance of caution due to the politics surrounding it, it's not being installed on our phones. I have standalone devices. The standalone device is my personal phone. I do have it on my personal phone. But if they want to know that I'm using the toilet and the frequency in which I use TikTok is usually related to the bathroom, then I'm not worried about who knows that. Security concerns aren't that concerning at the moment. All right. I'm scrolling through for other entertaining comments. I don't think there's anything else here. Oh, do you not need probable cause or reasonable suspicion to pull someone over? So we can pull any, you're a driver. So the driver has entered into an agreement, essentially. You have a license, you're bound by that license. We need to make sure you have that license. So in Ontario, we can pull any motorist over to check that you have a license. We can check to make sure you're sober. We can check to make sure you're insured. And we can check to make sure your vehicle is safe. And no other driving issues need to be identified. If you're speeding, well, I'm pulling you over for the speeding, and I got to check all those other things I mentioned as well. But I can check you just for those things without any violation. I know there are states in the United States where you can't pull someone over for seatbelts, but you can pull them over for speeding. And then once you pull them over for speeding, you can charge them for for primary and secondary laws. Mind blowing. Every state has their own laws, and for traffic and for criminal. Whereas we have Criminal Code of Canada, and then we have individual provincial traffic laws. All right. I'm calling it. I'm out of here. It's been a slice. I hope you have a great weekend. I truly hope that you have a safe weekend. It can be a dangerous place out on the road. Last weekend, we arrested 13 people for impaired operation offenses. I'm about to finish editing the video that I was working on before we went live an hour and 35 minutes ago. And I will then post it because I've got some, information to share. It's pretty shocking, the details of some of these arrests. We don't want you to become part of the statistics. We don't want you to get hurt by an impaired driver. We don't want you to become an impaired driver. So make good plans and enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. I will leave you with the most magical of recruiting videos because we're hiring.
Your future career starts with a vision. A vision of opportunities ahead, where you can see a path to a noble career, serving the city of Toronto. Where do you see yourself? Toronto Police Service. Apply today.
I think the only thing that would make that video better is if James Earl Jones voiced it. Just saying. Anyway, drive safe, drive sober, park legally, have a great time, and smile because guess what? It looks good on you. Have a great weekend.